and welcome back to episode 7 of Entr'acte with Julia. I'm Julia Choi, a violinist with the Met Orchestra, and you'll get to hear my talented colleagues speak about their lives. Today's guest is Katherine Fong, a violinist with the Met Orchestra. Kat joined the orchestra 20 years ago in 2000. Kat is one of the most hilarious and quick-witted, smartest people I know, and there are so many aspects of her that I learned through this interview. She leads a multifaceted existence as an orchestral musician, chamber musician, soloist, entrepreneur, and mother. She's played in many rock bands, pursued acting, and currently runs her company Luxitune. Kat studied at the New England Conservatory and at Juilliard, and is now a mother of 2 and married to violist Dove Scheinlin. I am so excited to share my conversation with Kat today. Without further ado, let's meet Kat. Hi, Kat. I'm so excited to have you on my show today. Thank you so much for your time. Yay. Okay, so Kat is a violinist at the Met Orchestra, and she has a multifaceted career, and she's one of the coolest human beings I know. And aside from the Met, she's played in various other groups as well, which we'll speak more about later. And Kat has a business also called Luxitune, and is also a mom of 2 insanely beautiful and smart kids. Fun fact, she's played in a bunch of rock bands. And as if that's not enough, she used to take acting classes and is personnel manager of Montclair Orchestra. It's insane. I remember meeting you for the first time and just thinking, oh my god, I want to be friends with her. She's just the coolest. And if any of you have listened to Kat Rowe's interview in episode 2, you might remember she's mentioned Las Tres Betches, and Kat is one of the 3. So the Kat we have today spells her name with a K, and the other Kat starts with a C. So, okay, so I don't want to give it all away, and I could go on and on about all the unique things that Kat does outside of working at the Met, but let's rewind a little bit to your childhood, background, and upbringing. Where were you born and raised, and where have you lived? And how did you get started on the violin?
Okay, what a great introduction.
You do so much. It's so easy.
Let's see, where am I from? Planet Earth. I am from Amarillo, Texas, which is in the panhandle of Texas, which is the top square part.
Okay.
Near like Oklahoma and New Mexico. I moved from there to Boston. I went to New England Conservatory, so I lived in Boston, and then I came to Juilliard and lived in New York City. So those are the 3 main places I've lived. And how did I get started on the violin? I can't even remember. It's like I was born with it. It was a terribly painful birth for my mother because there was a violin in my hand. No.
I can't remember the last time I didn't have a violin in my hands either.
Right? I think I started when I was 4, so I'm told. And Amarillo has a very strong Suzuki program. And so I went through Suzuki for a real long time, like book 1 through 10.
Uh-huh.
I also started because I have an older sister who's 11 years older, and she was already playing violin by that time, and she was really good, and I wanted to be just like her. So,
yeah, that's how it always works, right?
You know, like, I want to do that.
Yeah. And look where you are now. Is she still playing the violin also?
She is. Oh, she's got the West Coast covered. I've got the East Coast. She's got the West Coast.
Oh, cool.
She teaches at Stanford University.
Wow.
And her husband's in the St. Lawrence String Quartet.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. Is Deborah your only sister, or do you have other siblings?
My only sister, but I have 2 brothers older than her.
Oh.
So it was like 3 older kids, and then a span of 11 years, and then, oops, there's yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you were born and your parents made that happen.
I know, like, was it like a crisis or?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm glad you're here because we get to have this conversation today. How was your transition from Amarillo to the big city? Was it difficult? What are kind of the key stark differences in everyday kind of life aspects?
Wow. Okay. So Well, my sister also went to New England Conservatory, so she
Hmm.
had already paved the way to Boston. And my dad and mom, they were very keen on us traveling quite a bit when we were young. Like we'd always go on two pretty large trips every year
Hmm.
to big cities, so LA, New York. We would go to Hawaii, just everywhere. And so I got the taste that there's more to life than Amarillo.
Hmm.
And I always felt like I didn't really belong there. Um, Growing up, there weren't that many Asians. I was literally like one of two others in my high school, I think.
Yeah, I can relate to that
Oh
actually.
yeah,
I think
really?
I was one of three or three to five Asians in my grade.
Really?
Well, so I guess there were a couple more, but around there, I felt like a good chunk of the time I was definitely trying to figure out how to act cool or, to be
Yeah.
popular and to fit in. And even 10 years ago, it was kind of uncool to be Asian. And
Uh-huh.
so I remember pushing a lot of that away, a lot of my Koreanness away, and it didn't even work. I was still not popular. I was still that
Oh.
nerdy Asian kid that's good at math. Um, yeah, and everyone would ask me to copy my homework. Yeah, I was that kid. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and I find that the places and people you're surrounded with definitely factor into what makes you you.
Yes.
So, yeah, so much of the time I remember resenting kind of being Asian, and that really saddens me now because as I've become more older and more mature, yeah, now at least on the East Coast, things have changed, for the better, and
Yeah.
it's become a lot more inclusive. So,
I mean, growing up, it was like I remember being made fun of quite a bit. It was hard growing up.
yeah.
It gave me a lot of backbone, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I think on the first day of high school, the hottest guy in school, he like gator long blonde hair, and he was like,
Hmm.
I can remember his name, but I won't out him right now. But he
Uh-huh.
like came up to me and said, "Welcome to America."
Ugh,
I was like,
that's horrible.
I'm like, I
You're
was
like,
born in
what? I was
Amarillo. Like
born
I was,
here.
I was born there just like he was. So it was like, what are
Yeah.
you even talking about? So it was
Right.
stuff like that that it was hard. But coming to Boston, there were so many Asians, especially in music school, and it was like
Right.
really hard for me because I didn't understand like why do I look like everyone now?
Uh-huh.
Weird.
Yeah, exactly. I remember finding myself more at home, with my friends at pre-college on Saturdays, which Juilliard has this pre-college program for non-musicians. And mostly just because everyone was doing the same exact thing and practicing like 5 hours or so a day. It was cool to be good at your instrument, and I think a lot of us gravitate towards relatable people who are doing the exact same things and going through the same struggles and trying to jump over the same hurdles. And there were a lot of Asians. So that really helped me just to have that kind of different background area. Did
Totally.
you
And
did you do something like that when you were growing up?
a little bit. I remember, not having too many Asian role models except my mom and my sister, like to see what is beautiful about being an Asian woman
Yeah.
or how you're supposed to carry yourself. I mean, everyone that I went to school with was, blonde or white.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
cheerleading was big, football was
Yes, me
big,
too.
blonde, big hair, and I couldn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I got good at the violin, and that was like my thing, and I just did my thing.
Uh-huh. Well,
And
that's great.
yeah, it took me to the East Coast for sure.
Yeah. I'm glad you had the violin kind of as your outlet.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's just a generalization, but I feel like a lot of the time we Asians are the easiest to pick on because we don't tend to stick up for ourselves. And
right.
remarks like that, people might not think that it's hurtful to say those things, but it really sticks with us for a long time.
Oh,
So,
for sure.
or we're afraid that people will not like us as a group, or we just want to fit in so badly.
Right.
So we kind of just brush off a lot of the jokes that are made and laugh it off, which makes it then okay. And then sort of unintentionally gives this approval to the other person to
Right.
repeat that same joke to someone else. And then there's that vicious cycle. So If this whole shit show that is 2020 so far has taught us nothing else, I think one of the most important things is to embrace and respect who we are. And I think it's important to be loud and proud about our culture and heritage. And
Absolutely.
I'm so glad I have people like you to look up to as role models. You're laughing, but it's true. And so you went to NEC and Juilliard afterwards.
That's right.
Who were your teachers at school, and did you love it there?
Let's see. I sort of loved it there and then didn't love it there. Let's see. NEC, I didn't talk to that many people. I lived in the dorm 4 years in a row, and I just practiced. So I really didn't know nothing about Boston except for Gainsborough and Huntington Street. That's where NEC is. And my teacher there was Eric Rosenblith, he was a Carl Flesch student. He was this little French Jewish man who was such a character, but he was a wonderful teacher. He cared about his students so much. He would come in and give us extra lessons, like 3 lessons a week.
Wow.
A ton of students, like 30 students, and he cared for all of us.
That's amazing.
He would give us his old parts and he was really into us doing his fingerings. And I remember, which isn't great, but one time he was really into the high positions. And one time I came in with my own fingering and he was like, "My dear girl, how could a woman of your intellect play that on the D string?"
What, did he want it on the G string?
Yeah, and I'm like, well, it doesn't go up there. But it was things like that. He was just from another world, but he was a wonderful guy, and he really took care of all of us.
Yeah.
I felt really cared for, and I felt like somebody at NEC my final 2 years. But then when I went to Juilliard, I didn't know anybody. I studied with Jimmy Lin, Cho Leong Lin for 1 year, and then Joel Smirnoff for my second year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
really great teachers.
Yeah, I learned a lot from both those guys. But Juilliard really, you're thrust into this environment, and it's big New York City, and everyone's the best of the best, and it was scary. And people, like you, who went to pre-college, they've been there forever, and everything about the school, and I'm coming in like a master's student, like I don't know.
Ooh, yeah, that's a different perspective. Everyone has their own journeys.
Right, but at Juilliard, I really learned how to teach myself. Actually, they would give me, what they had to do, what they had to say, and then they would go off and play their concerts, and I would have to think about what do I want to say now about this piece. And Mr. Rosenblith was really like, here's how I want you to say it. But now it was like, since you have the technique, you figure it out. And that was kind of eye-opening. A lot of years after lessons, like, what do I do?
Well, that's probably a great transition into the real world, and maybe your teachers treated you differently than they would have with the undergrad students, because they knew that you were older and getting ready for the real world, which obviously worked out because you won your first audition ever at the Met. You won your job during college, right?
Well, I won it a month out of school. So
oh my God.
There was 1 month where I was like, "Dad, are you still going to pay my rent?" And I thought he might not. And there's this audition. I lived in those, I should say the T word, the Trump buildings.
The T word.
Trump buildings near Lincoln Center.
Yeah.
Are they still called that? I don't know.
I think they took that off the building.
Okay. Riverside Boulevard, is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, now they're just going by the numbers of the apartment buildings.
I lived in those buildings and, would walk to Juilliard, but then, I just went a little further and walked over to the Met to give my resume to Rachel Hawking.
And she was still there.
She's still there.
She's still there.
And, I took that audition. I think I won it in June.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
It was really lucky. I mean, it was a weird audition. There were 1,500 applicants because there were 4 positions open, and they took 5 of us. 3 of us were named Katherine. So I was like,
it's the Katherine effect.
Yeah, in fact,
Trifecta.
like during the finals, he was like Bob Cyranek was calling out the names, and he'd be like, "We'd like to hear again, Catherine." I was like, "Yeah, Rowe," and I was like, we'd also like to hear Catherine, like, "Yeah, Sim," like, "No." But then he did say Katherine Fong, and I was like,
Yes.
"Are you sure?"
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt too, except I didn't have to go through the same name. But for the people listening, I played for Cat and Dove before taking my audition at the Met, and it really cleared things up for me, and I improved instantly because they're such incredible musicians and to play for, and they're just so knowledgeable and such great teachers. And the way you were able to pinpoint things for every excerpt and help me to kind of organize my thoughts at the very end was so amazing.
Okay.
And I remember you and Dove helping me to understand the stories of each excerpt a little more in more vivid imagery and to put it that way. And I knew generally, what was going on from doing my own research, but listening to you tell the stories the way you do, let's just say that they stuck and definitely made my interpretation and performance more convincing. So
Yeah, especially with opera, it's all right there in the story. It's actually unfolding right
yeah,
there.
so that actually helps to have
Yeah.
the real story there instead of having to make your own up.
Right.
Yeah, when Dove was talking about the Rosenkavalier, the first page.
So yes,
Yeah.
Cavalier. Your listeners should listen to that and call me, and then I'll tell you what
Right?
it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you teach right now, and are you taking students?
Right now, I have no students. I stopped teaching for a while, and I was actually taking Suzuki certification for a little while because my daughter, who's 5, I wanted to teach her. So I might start teaching her again, but since the pandemic and school being remote and everything, it was just too much to handle. But I usually do like excerpt coaching, and then I studied a little bit how to do beginners. So I'm doing
Awesome.
the gamut, like the outer edges of learning. But, always willing to hear anyone, help anyone.
Awesome. That's good to know for everyone, interested. Okay. And then did you do any freelancing during your time at school, like recording sessions, chamber music, and other orchestras?
I had a very serious string quartet. My 2 years at Juilliard, we almost won YCA, and we won.
Wow.
Forget what else we won. It was some other competition. Yeah, but we were gonna do like the string quartet thing, and we played a lot of gigs through the Juilliard gig office just around town, and that was a lot of fun. That's really what I wanted to do, and really thought I'm gonna be in a quartet. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And then this little audition came along, and
Yeah, right.
changed everything.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, YCA is a huge deal for
Yeah.
people who don't know. That's like the best thing that could happen because then you get management, right?
Right. It's young concert artists, and they give you basically a career for a year. Yeah, you get money and then a bunch of recital in Carnegie Hall and concerts.
Wow.
For a year or 2 or something like that.
Yeah. It just would have been a different lifestyle.
Yes, a lot of traveling.
Yeah, so family wouldn't be, I mean, it could be an option, but you wouldn't have enough time with them to spend.
Right.
So, and then you also had your rock bands and your solo and chamber career, right?
Yeah, so I did a few. Dove and I became weirdly famous in Bogota, Colombia. Like they just kept inviting us back to play concertos every year. It was like, okay. So we had like several stints playing concertos in Bogota. So that's like kind of the extent of my solo.
That's
career.
so cool. What kind of, did you play duets together? Like Mozart,
Sinfonia
Sinfonia?
Concertante. He did Walton Concerto. I did Mendelssohn Concerto. We also taught a little bit and did like a Mendelssohn Octet and did some chamber stuff with the people there. And
wow.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, that's when I discovered Dove can speak Spanish. I was like, what?
Oh, you didn't know before then?
No.
And were you together at the time already?
Yes.
Oh, yes, too much, too
Who
long.
are you?
Awesome. What about your rock bands?
Oh, my rock band. So I started that while I was at the Met. I had always wanted to do it. And one of my friends gave me his 5-string Zeta, which is this electric
Ooh.
violin that it's like black with cutouts and it's all sleek
Oh,
and
that's so
shiny.
cool.
And it looks like an electric guitar, but it has 5 strings. So it's like a violin and a viola.
Right. Plus viola.
Right.
You got the best of both worlds.
I like plugged it in, and with all these effects, you can sound like anything. You can sound like Jimi Hendrix, all sorts.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it was a lot of fun. I was in several, like 3 different bands, and I got the real feel of it going downtown to the Village or Alphabet City with all your gear. My amp and my torn fishnets, and I had my hair in like these weird ponytails.
Oh, that's so cool. Do you have pictures?
I do. I'll send you some.
Okay, I can't wait to see them.
Ponytails.
I mean, that explains a lot of your awesome fashion sense too. Like, very cool.
It was like a regular band. It was a female lead singer who was pretty Broadway. She was like in that show Rent.
Ooh.
So she was our lead singer. Then we had drums, bass, and electric guitar. And then I would be like lead guitar or second guitar with the guitarist,
Oh, that's so cool. So you'd play a lot of the melodies and then harmonize with the singer.
And then I'd take over and like do a solo, which was really obnoxious, but
Oh, that's so cool. Oh my goodness. And then do you still have videos from that
I have
time?
a few videos, yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that would
there's
be
like
so cool.
album around that I have. I'll send you the picture.
Yeah.
I've shown my kids and they were like, "You're
That's
cool.
you? You were
You're in a
cool?
rock band."
What?
Yeah, like,
Mom?
go do your homework. Shut up.
Exactly. Okay, anyway, so I think the listeners probably got a little hint of this already, but when did you decide to take up your acting classes?
Oh God.
A little birdie told me you do an amazing
no.
British granny, by the way, so
Oh God.
I don't want to put you
I
on the
should have
spot, but
practiced. I should have practiced.
can you please do a snippet for us?
Let me see. I have to get. It was a little bit like I took from my old violin teacher, Mr. Rosenblith, but then I lowered it. And then she had a very booming voice like this. And
Oh my
I was
God.
also in a wheelchair, and so I had like this old wig on. I was a grandma, but like a really rich grandma. And I had a low voice, like hello, and I mean, I that's enough.
That was amazing.
Off. But, I mean, I've always really liked actors who can morph into different roles. And my dream job, actually, if I could go back in time, I think I would have done like sketch comedy.
Wow.
I would have loved to have been the first Asian American woman on Saturday Night Live. That's what I would have loved to have been.
You could still do it. It's very possible. I think you'd be really successful.
But Bowen Yang is on there right now.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
Props.
Yeah.
But no, I just love that. And people who can just imitate other people so well. I've just always had a fascination with that, which I think it also has to do with a good ear, and being a musician, you have a good ear and intonation, and
Intonation, I don't know
Intonation
about me,
not
but
important. Not important.
I think being a musician definitely helps in that field.
Yeah, it helped my playing actually to do acting lessons. Like I took the Meisner technique, is Stanford Meisner, and it was a lot of like you would do like mirror exercises and listening exercise. So you just repeat, you stare at your partner, whoever that person is, probably a complete stranger, and you just repeat the same word, but it slowly changes because you start to inflect the way they're inflecting.
Oh,
That's a lot like chamber music, really.
that's true. I remember doing a lot of that in ear training. I don't know if you had to do that, but at least in ear training 3 or 4, they made us do this canon kind of thing. And so you would be standing right next to your duo partner and be repeating the same thing but in canon.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of crazy. But yeah, totally makes sense.
Yeah,
It's like chamber music.
it is. But except with your whole body, because then you'd have to do like trust exercises where you like fall back and just trust that this person you just met is going to catch you.
Yeah.
And that was like
Did
scary.
you ever fall?
I'm like, don't you drop me. I will hurt you.
So,
I did. Yeah.
oh
A
no.
lot of weird acting stuff. I mean, weird stuff.
That's so cool. I hope you do take up comedy at some point. Yeah. Well, I honestly don't know how you do it all. And so my biggest question for you is, and really for all the moms in the orchestra, is how do you do it all? How do you juggle motherhood and your huge careers? Because it's truly so inspiring for me to know that it's possible to manage both. It's nearly impossible, but it's possible. So, I mean, because we have so many performances a season and, you know, we have rehearsals. And so how do you balance your work and life outside of work?
It's hard. And the women in our orchestra are some of the strongest women I know because
Yeah.
our orchestra plays the longest than any other orchestra. Operas are long. And when you leave in the evening, you're not going to be back until like midnight. So
Right.
somebody else is putting your kids to bed, you know? That being said, I'm lucky because it's great if you have a partner who is just as inspired and eager and committed to raising the kids. And I couldn't do what I do without Dove, my husband, because
My husband,
boyfriend,
don't forget. Oh, oh yeah, he's my husband.
my slave. No, yeah, because and he also plays in the orchestra, as Julia said. So we have the same schedule, and I think I would say don't feel guilty to anybody who has a career and kids if you're away from your kids sometimes, because kids want a happy parent and a fulfilled parent. And if you're off doing something great, as long as they're with, you know, a caretaker or a grandparent or somebody who is caring for them, they're going to appreciate that, you know, you're the bomb out there doing your career.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. But juggling it all, it's hard. You know, there's only so many hours in the day, and you got to be at two places at once. And I got to pay some people to pick up one kid while I go pick up another sometimes.
Right.
And, you know, you just work it out.
Yeah, wow. I think what you said was so important about, you know, being a mother but not feeling guilty about having your own career, because I think my parents really sacrificed a lot for me to be where I am today. And now I just keep telling my mom to go out and do fun things, you know, that she wants to do. What you said was super accurate. And I think that's what, you know, all the kids are definitely thinking that too. So
Yeah, well, I hope that's what my kids think of me. Although they're unemployed now, which my son announced in class.
What?
Yeah,
That's hilarious. I mean, it's not funny, but
it was kind of funny. But I mean, I heard him tell his whole Zoom class, his music class, like, my mom and dad are musicians. They used to play opera, and it was like, oh dear. But
oh my goodness.
I chimed in like, we will again.
Oh my.
So,
it's not funny that we're unemployed right now, but the fact that Zeke said that.
Yeah, I mean, my son will say anything. You can't, if you have kids, you don't keep a secret for anything. Like this really hot guy taught my son how to swim this summer at this lake out in Cold Spring that my mother-in-law rented. And it's just like some guy who lived there. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll just go take lessons with that hot guy or the buff guy or whatever it is. And first lesson, he's like, my mom calls you the buff guy.
Oh my God, at least he didn't say hot guy.
I'm like,
oh God. I mean, that's the great thing about kids, though. You always know what they're thinking. Or maybe you don't, but a lot of things are really transparent.
They tell it like it is. You know?
Yeah, it's great. Sometimes. Me.
No, I was really embarrassed. But then, like, whatever. I could be his mom. Whatever.
Yeah. Who cooks for the family?
Who cooks for the family? Of course, my husband.
Well, I knew that, but I just wanted to talk about it today.
I know. No, actually, I am a terrible cook. Something my mom never taught me. Talk about somebody who did it all. She was a nurse. She cooked.
Wow.
I don't know how she did it all, but she would never really let me help out in the kitchen because she
That's
was
like me too.
really,
Yeah.
yeah.
So now I'm learning right now, but
Well, I learned from Dove. So I can follow a recipe, but if you have like random ingredients in a kitchen, you set me loose, I'll be like, where's the phone? So, I mean, I can,
yeah.
like make breakfast and some stuff, but Dove cooks. And
Wow.
I
And
hope
he enjoys it, right?
he does. In
Yeah.
fact, last night we looked on your
Ooh.
Choi's YouTube
Yeah.
channel, and we got the idea of having sundubu.
Oh my God.
So
Sunduma is my favorite.
it was so good. I mean, yeah, and Dove was like, let's make it from scratch. Like, yes, let's. Yeah.
Let's, as in you.
Yeah.
I'll just eat it. That's my part of the share. Well, I'm glad it works out that way because
I know.
he enjoys it. So you don't have
He
to
does.
force him
I
to
know.
make it.
It's not like I'm like,
Let's go. Bring the
where's my
food.
dinner? Not like that.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And, now, of course, you've got two amazing kids who are both so freaking smart and beautiful. And what are their names and what do they play instruments? And what do you aspire they will grow up to be?
Well, I have a son who's 8 years old named Zeke, and he is a handful.
He's great.
I've learned a lot from him. And my daughter, Lila, is 5. So Zeke took some cello lessons when he was younger, like 4 or 5. And,
Oh, I didn't know that.
they didn't go very well because I became a freak. Like, what is wrong with you? Why can't you? So I became a freak, stage mom-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But also, he has some, things that he has to deal with. And so, like, putting his fingers on the fingerboard was actually painful for him.
Oh.
He has, sensory things that he can't be seated for that long. He's got these issues that we're dealing with now, and it wasn't for him. It was not for him. My daughter will be playing violin soon. I'm going to torture her.
She is playing a little bit already, right?
Yeah, we've got the monkey song down.
Ooh, yay.
In the bag.
Nice.
But next up is the Twinkle Twinkle variations. Which,
Suzuki 1.
Yeah, that takes like a year to go through, okay?
Yeah, that's actually really hard with all the variations and bow division. Just having to talk about it with little kids, it's hard.
Yeah, but I like chocolate ice cream.
Yeah. You have to make up lyrics for them to really get it. Yeah.
Exactly. But they both have a love of music. In fact, since I like to imitate stuff after work, I come home singing or imitating operas, and I did it so much this past season. It was only last season that I was doing a lot of Porgy and Bess at home. And so Zeke was like, I really want to see it.
Wow.
So he came, and it's probably PG, rated PG at least.
Right.
But he sat through the first act, which is quite long. I don't know, you remember how long it was? It was like,
oh my God, it was like
torture. Had an intermission already, but he sat through the whole thing, and he loved it.
Oh wow.
I think summertime to him and Lila when they go to bed. So it was already like right off the bat, I know that song.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So they really have a love for music, and they've seen the Magic Flute too at the Met. I think they appreciate what we do. But as for what I want them to be when they grow up,
it's so hard. I mean, especially in this time.
I know. It's tricky, I mean, I don't think either one of them will be a musician. And, being a musician right now is one of the toughest things out there, I think, for any young musician out there. It's like you have to be way more creative than I used to have to be when I was a student. So I would just like my kids to be happy and enjoy what they're doing and have fun, see the fun of everything, because everything that I see, I always like try to extract the fun quality. Like, what is so absurd about, any little thing? Is this is funny, you know what I mean? So I hope that I give my sense of humor to my kids,
Mm-hmm.
that they can see the joy in life.
Yeah, I think right now, especially in this time with the pandemic going on and everything, I don't want to hear the word pandemic ever again. I feel like I'm saying it every other word, but
I know. And I hate cautiously optimistic. What is that?
I don't know. But mental wellness is number one right now, so I
Oh
totally
yeah.
agree with that. Can you tell us now about your company, Luxitune, and how did you come up with it and start your business?
So I got the idea for a bejeweled tuner. I was at some festival, and Todd Phillips, the violinist of the Orion Quartet, I noticed on his fine tuner, he had this giant piece of turquoise. I was
Ooh.
like, what? That's really cool. Except I hate turquoise. So I could make that even better. 'Cause that looks like crap. But my idea is that no. So I got the idea from him a little bit, and his dad is, I think, a jeweler. So
Oh, wow.
I got the idea from him, and so I met Hai Jun Park
Mm-hmm.
through another mutual friend, and I found out, oh my God, I like you, and you're a
I
jeweler,
like you.
jewelry,
It's so
and,
rare that I like a person.
and I like you. That's
What?
so I said, can you make me like a bejeweled tuner, like put something on top of the fine tuner? And she's like, yeah, sure. That's weird, but okay. And it took her a little while, but she came up with what is now the pave ball,
Ooh, which I have.
and which is right here.
I should have brought it.
So she made it, and then we were both like, oh, this is great. Do you think other people might
Mm-hmm.
want this? And so we decided to form a partnership and make a company, and
Mm-hmm.
I would be sort of the business brain sort of ideas person. She was too, but she would be, the hardware, making the stuff.
Yeah.
And we came together and we created Luxitune. I mean, but we really had trouble coming up with a name.
What? It
Luxitune.
seems, I mean, it's the perfect name.
I know. I think it's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's done very well. I love seeing people with Luxitunes, like
Mm-hmm.
especially out. Like I don't know them. I'm like, oh yeah, nice tuner.
I made that, by the way.
But
Yeah.
so I got too busy with the kids, so I've given the whole operation to Hai Jun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still peripherally involved in any kind of artistic matters that she wants, and always,
Wow.
telling people about it. But yeah, it was fun, like to be entrepreneurial, which I think that's very important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
So
Especially right
it was
now.
fun. I'm so glad you have one. You have
Wait,
more
I'm gonna pause this and get mine. So you can
okay.
be a good saleswoman. Okay, so this is what Kat was talking about. Ignore my
Yeah.
nails. This is the pave ball, right?
That's
One
right.
of them. And there are different colors. So it's really pretty.
And it can come in all sorts of different colors. Like she can mix the colors, everything. What's
Yeah.
the other one you have?
And then I have this one, the
The
solitaire.
solitaire. Yes.
I have
Yes.
to clean my violin, but yeah, that's it. And they're so pretty. Everyone should get one. They're so beautiful.
She can also make fancy, like special order ones, and I think we gave David Chan a golf ball.
Does he have it on there?
I don't think so. He put it on once, but
Only for special days.
only for special days.
Wow. And then how did you meet Dove? Dove is Kat's husband, by the way. We've mentioned him several times.
Yes.
But he's also an incredibly accomplished violist who
Yes.
plays with various groups, including the Met and Orpheus, where he is artistic director. Did you guys meet in the pit?
We did. It was during like a weird rehearsal for, I don't know what it was. I'd like to say it was something romantic like La Boheme or something, but it was probably like Votsek. I don't know. But I remember noticing like a new person in the back of the violas. And my friend, Kat Rowe, she was like, hey, there's some new information in the back of the violas. I'm gonna find out the dirt on him.
Mm-hmm.
And she will find out the dirt on me.
Yep.
So later that rehearsal, she came out. She's like, "Okay, that guy's name is like Dove or something, and he's really good friends with Nick Ennett, who was our old concertmaster,
Mm-hmm.
and he's single."
That's it.
Well, okay.
So where's the dirt?
I know.
He
Well,
just didn't have any.
that was it. Like, it's not even dirt. It was just because he's such a good guy. There's no dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we met there, and then this is so old. We became like, you don't know what Friendster is, do you?
Nope. What's Friendster?
Like the generation before the
Oh
generation
my
of
god.
Facebook, before MySpace or whatever.
Oh, okay. I know what MySpace is.
It was like Friendster never took off, but we had profiles and we became friends on Friendster. I didn't really know his name, so I walked past him in the hall and we were friends on Friendster. I was like, "Hey, Friendster," and he was like, "Oh, hey, Friendster." And I remember I was walking with Sylvia,
Yeah.
and she was like, "Oh my God, he doesn't know your name. He thinks your name is, what did he call you?" Right. No, we're on Friendster together. And so we started, messaging each other on Friendster.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I feel so old. But then he asked me to go like to some museum, which I was like, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Then my rock band played and he came to a show.
That's so nice.
And he broke danced during broke danced.
Wow.
He knows how to break dance. I've only
What?
seen him do it twice, on that occasion and on my wedding. So he did that, and that's when I knew this guy's something special.
Yeah. He's got all these tricks up his sleeve.
He does. And then we started kind of like hanging out, and secretly, I think one time we were in Central Park, like, we were holding hands, and then we saw a colleague. We're like, "Oh God." And then Joel Noyes once caught us on the street canoodling, and that was embarrassing. And so then finally it was like, whatever, let's just do this.
Aw, that's perfect. That's so cute. I still can't believe that Dove break dances.
Yeah, I don't know if he could do it now, but
Well, you'll have to ask him and let me know.
yeah, he'll have to like get in shape and do it. You know what I mean? It was a while ago.
And I get to see you and Dove even more outside the Met because all three of us play at Montclair Orchestra, which is led by David Chan. And so the general makeup of the orchestra is 50% professional musicians and mentors, and then 50% students. And Kat plays violin sometimes, but you're also the personnel manager.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Yep. You tell it how it is.
Get in your seat.
Can you tell us what your role is as a PM and also what it means to be a mentor in this organization?
Oh, sure. So Montclair, it's a wonderful organization. I basically contract the players, so I get to be in touch with great colleagues and also other professionals in like the New York Philharmonic or New Jersey Symphony, all sorts of other, professional groups. And then we pair them with very wonderful up-and-coming students from Juilliard, Manhattan School of Music, Mannes, NYU, and Montclair State University also. And it's been great to see both generations learn from each other.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun. Like, I sat a couple times with a few of these kids, and I learned a lot too. You're basically teaching them how to play, and learn repertoire really quickly, and learn how to sit with a professional who's like just banging it out.
Yeah.
We don't have time to hang out and work out all the details of this symphony. Like, we have 3 rehearsals and we have to play. So I think it's a great opportunity. I wish I'd had that opportunity when I was younger.
Me too.
I would have learned so much. It's also really great as the personnel manager I sit there and watch all the rehearsals, and I'm keeping an eye on everybody. But also I hear the way that from the first rehearsal it morphs into what is Carnegie Hall ready performance. It's wonderful. I mean,
Wow.
these kids are great. They're really like colleagues after concerts. Like, you're learning, but you really become colleagues because I think the mentors also learn from the students.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know?
They soak it up too, like a sponge.
Yeah. It's just also great for me to do something completely different. I have to be, more social and deal with everyone, which, playing violin, it can oftentimes just be you and your instrument and the part, and you're communicating non-verbally with your colleagues, but I have to actually engage with people and hear all sorts of weird things and learn all about them. And that's been fun for me.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. You're a really great personnel manager, by the
Oh,
way.
well,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for all your emails.
I
I love
love
them.
writing those emails. I hate when like something's vague, like is it at 4 or 5? And where is it? I hate that. So I'm like, they will know exactly where and when I'm gonna write the email.
Yeah, you're so organizational, and it's great. Yeah, super clear. Let's say that a new person joins your section at the Met, and there's a chance that that person will be super green and has not had much orchestral experience. What are some of the key things that you look for? And are there certain things maybe that a student wouldn't know? And what are some of the things that would make up your ideal stand partner?
Oh wow. Wow. Okay. Well,
That's a loaded question.
really,
So.
that's rough. Um, no, I think that first and foremost, the preparedness. Like if the person comes in, the new person, say in our section, comes in, doesn't know the part that well, it's like they're not taking it seriously. And even if they can sight read really well, you can tell if somebody hasn't done the work. But that being said, the Met Orchestra has a way of playing things, and you're going to step in it when you're new. You're just going to play in rests, and you're not going to know that, the soprano always takes time at this point in the aria. And so you wait until that happens, and then you play.
Yeah.
That's just something you have to learn on the job.
Oh, it's hard.
Yeah. So we like to see people step in it. But if you step in it once, twice, but 3 times, it's like, I'm going to have to hurt you. No. It's just like, I want to see somebody who's receptive to what's going on around them. So preparedness, alertness. Oh, here's a pet peeve of mine. And just anyone who's a student should know this. Never, ever practice fortissimo, the hard parts, in the pit or on stage. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Ever. And don't play your concertos.
I've seen that happen. Not at the Met, but
Nobody
elsewhere.
wants to hear that.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we have a limited amount of time in the pit to practice our parts before, just to warm up a little bit. Yeah. But that's not where you practice. You can practice at home and then just go over.
If you want to fiddle around with the part, like while everyone's playing, that's totally fine. Have jump up the high note and Rosa Cavalier. We all trying to find it. But I mean, if during intermission you're sitting in the pit,
don't show off. Basically,
it's just a thing of mine. But I think also, it's just not nice etiquette,
Right.
Some respect. I've been lucky to have some really great stand partners. There's a lot of mutual respect, and they're really fun people. I think the ideal stand partner would be somebody who's easy to play with, somebody who is offering something that you can play with and has a point of view about what the music is saying, but they're also playing with you and aware of you. So in that respect, orchestra to me is like chamber music. And I mean, that person you can hear the best in the orchestra, right? It's like sometimes basically you're just playing for that person.
Right, exactly.
So loud. So I think if you can play with them and have like some kind of camaraderie in that respect, that's my ideal stand partner.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot of great advice for people who are just starting out. For me too. It's really great to hear that stuff. It's really hard to come across a really great stand partner. You've been at the Met for 20 years now, right?
Yes.
20!
I mean, that's like a full-grown person.
Yeah. So you must have your fair share of either hilarious or crazy stories at the Met, right?
Yeah.
So tell
Oh
us
my
some of
God.
them.
Let's see. Well, there's the craziest story that, I mean, my friend Sylvia should tell it because it's really her story. But during War and Peace, a soldier fell into the pit,
What?
fell onto Sylvia's violin and knocked it out of her hand. And suddenly she's just sitting there
Oh
like
my
motionless
God.
while this dude is on the floor in a soldier's costume with his sword and everything. And it was like, what just
What?
happened?
How
That
did
was
that
the,
even happen?
well, I think the guy kind of wondered.
Forgot where the.
I think he did it on purpose, apparently.
Oh.
He's like an out of work actor who was trying to get some,
Oh,
I don't know,
oh,
publicity maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Watch, she's going to see this and come and get me.
oh.
But
But the more important question, how's the violin?
I
Was it
think,
okay?
I think it was okay, but she broke her bow, I think.
Oh, oh
You have to
no.
ask her. It is really her story,
Okay.
but it was really scary. And it was near the end of the piece, and she just was so freaked out. It was our first year. She just sat there and then turned pages and didn't move, didn't didn't say anything.
That happened your first year?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
it was really weird. I mean, and some other, like singers are, some of the stars have really big personalities.
Yeah.
Remember one particular German bass, shall we say? You can probably figure out who this is. The conductor's like, "Are you ready on stage? We got to get ready. Are you ready?" He's like, "I was born ready." Like, oh my God. Okay.
Oh my
I
God.
like that. You're just like larger than life characters who it's just interesting seeing like, how do you live your life? How do you
Yeah.
get up in the morning, go to the bathroom? Like
Hmm.
what is that like? That's
Definitely keeps us on our toes for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I don't know, it's the Mets, there's some crazy stuff that's happening. The show always must go on. So
Hmm.
singers will get sick and disappear, and then some new singer will appear singing the
Right.
same role but in their street clothes, or like the conductor has a bucket next to him because he's feeling sick and he might throw up, but he's gonna still conduct.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
Yikes.
that's happened a couple times.
Hmm.
So it's an exciting workplace.
For sure. Exciting is a good word for that. And then what's your favorite opera to play or in general?
Okay, well, this is not the greatest piece ever written, but I like Samson and Delilah a lot.
Ooh, I
Um,
got to play that last year.
Yeah, it holds a special place for me because we played it my first year, and then we went to Japan on tour and played it, and we had an amazing cast. It was Olga Borodina as
Wow.
Dalila or Delilah,
Hmm.
and Placido Domingo was Samson, and it was great. It was really fantastic, but I don't know, that piece just kind of reminds me of that time in my life when, I was 24 and in Japan for the first time and on tour, and it just
Oh,
holds a special, it's like a sense memory, you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah.
just, every time you play that piece, you probably think about
Yeah.
that time in your
Yeah.
life.
It takes me back to when I was young.
It's a time machine. And then you always manage to find the coolest places to go to in the city to
Oh.
take your kids. And so, can you list a few for the parents listening to this too?
Oh yeah. Well, one of my secret websites to check activities for kids is called Mommy Poppins, and they're really awesome. They have all sorts of activities, and they break it down by neighborhood.
Mhm.
So if I, find myself down in Chelsea and I have my kids with me, and they're like, "I'm bored." Look on Mommy Poppins. See, okay, what is in this neighborhood? Oh, there's the Rubin
Oh,
Museum. Let's go to the Rubin Museum and check out some art. Or, oh, there's this pop-up ice cream thing over here. So,
that's
yeah,
cool.
that's my secret. But I mean, I love to take them all over. Just, part of living in New York City is there's a lot of cool things and a
Hmm.
lot of like art installations. And my daughter loves the ice cream museum down in Soho.
Yeah, I've seen
Um,
pictures.
It's really fun. She wants to turn 6 there. Her birthday's in December, so we're probably gonna have to go back. And the Color Factory is really cool. There's this really cool building on West 14th Street, like where it starts to turn into the meatpacking district, and it's called Entr'acte. It's this Lexus owns this building, and they have art installations and a fantastic restaurant there, and like artisanal cocktails, and
wow,
it's like the coolest building. And the bathroom is amazing. You got to check it out.
The bathroom is.
You don't have to touch anything. Like it just happens to you. You know
what? I mean? That's
it's
so cool.
Crazy. No doors. You know, it just happens to you.
Wow.
So I mean, I recommend Entr'acte.
Is this near the High Line?
Yes. Very.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's so cool.
Even for non-kids.
Even for non-kids. Like, in fact, all the stuff I take my kids to, it's kind of because I want to go. I enticed my daughter recently to go to the L Room down on, I think that's also on 14th Street. And I said, look, it's got this crazy dessert where there's like a cloud of cotton candy on top. And she was like, oh. But I was actually like,
yeah, exactly.
We both went down there, and that's why I had kids, so I can just take them.
And did you do anything new during quarantine? Because you're in the city, right?
Yes, I'm in the city.
Mostly,
yes. I drank a lot.
Great.
No, we actually learned how to make cocktails. My other mother-in-law gave us, I have 2 mother-in-laws.
Oh.
My other mother-in-law gave us this purple gin, which is really cool, and you can make all sorts of like colorful cocktails.
Wow.
And we've been making all sorts of cool cocktails.
I've seen them.
There's like a matcha martini that we made that's like excellent.
Wow.
And so yes, I've been doing that, and I've become a hair cutter. I've cut every single person's hair in my family, including my own.
What? You cut your hair?
I did the old flipperoni.
I did that too.
And just hope for the best. There it is. Everybody.
And it turns out pretty well, especially if you have long hair. Then you can't really tell us,
right?
Right. And that's what I thought. And then I actually went to get my haircut done last week, and it feels so much healthier. Like there are no split ends, and it feels a lot softer. So
yeah,
I mean, there are professionals for a reason.
Right, exactly. But everybody's hair here.
Oh, that's awesome. And you're probably improving with that too.
Probably. The first time I cut Dave's hair, suddenly there was blood on his head, and I was like, I cut you. And
what?
He was like, no, you cut yourself. And I cut the crap out of my finger. I was like, oh my God. And so right before we had to do the Met Gala and play Lohengrin, and I was
oh no. Where was it on your finger?
It was like on my
first
finger.
That's horrible.
Yeah. So
the worst possible
a lot in
place.
half position.
Yeah. It would be better if it was on your bow hand, but
exactly. Yeah. But so I've learned since then. Gotten better.
Yeah. That's great. What do you miss most about playing at the Met?
Oh, wow. I think creating art every night and creating live theater that is happening at that very moment and that can't be recreated ever again.
Right.
Things happen spur of the moment, and you can capture them on tape and watch them over and over, but it's that moment you're there and something happens.
Yeah.
It's so exciting, and it's always exciting no matter what, no matter if it's my billionth, what's the most boring opera? I don't know. I won't say my billionth.
Carmen?
Yeah, Traviata.
Oh yeah, that's.
But anything can happen at any second. I really miss like the chandeliers, the whole thing, the gold curtain. Seeing that stagehand guy that looks like he's stuck in the 80s with his long hair. I miss that guy. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
I miss.
He's really cool looking.
He's so cool. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? It's 20 degrees outside, but I'm wearing my sleeveless cutoff shirt.
Yeah. He's like, this is me, and this is who I am. That's really cool.
It's 1984, and that's what it is. I don't care what you say. I love that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I just miss all the spontaneity of everything, too, as you mentioned. So.
And all colleagues, like we're a family, you know,
I
we see
know.
each other every day. We're practically with each other more than our own family units.
True.
And we know almost everything about, better or worse, we know everything about each other. And you know, we've seen it all. We've seen weddings, births, deaths. We've seen it all. And it's like a family. And when we're not together, there's emptiness. So I really miss everybody.
Me too. But we'll be back soon and stronger than ever. What advice do you have for young people who are just starting a career in music or in the process of applying to music schools or, you know, still on the audition circuit?
Oh, wow. Yeah, audition circuit right now, boy, oh boy. You know, that's not happening right now. I would say if you don't absolutely love music, maybe broaden your horizons. But if you really feel like you've got to do it, which I'm sure a lot of people do, being an entrepreneur is the key to the future of music. I really feel like that's what's holding the music industry back, particularly the classical music industry. You don't hear a lot of outside the box thinking. I mean, the word of these days is pivoting to really take control of whatever situation is given to us in this environment. And I think that is the key, you know, embracing online stuff, embracing smaller ensembles, embracing new music, embracing whatever it is, creating your own niche. I think that's super important.
I think so too.
I mean, and just the days of practicing in a room excerpts, I don't know. I think those days are over. And yeah, you have to be a more complete performer, I think.
Yeah, I think everything you said is completely true. And I think a lot of us are stuck in our comfort zones, and this is partially why I started doing this. Not, I mean, obviously to help the orchestra out and, you know, keep in touch, but also to just get out of my comfort zone and try to talk to people and get to know the world a little more and get the audience involved and everything like that. So even if it's not perfect, I know I'm not perfect or the perfect interviewer, but I'm trying and I feel like I'm improving every time. So I think it's just important to start something.
Yeah.
Just get out of your comfort zone and just start.
I think so too. Creativity is the order of the day.
Yeah.
And this is great. You started the podcast.
Thank you.
Oh my God, I really admire you.
Okay, so now we have rapid fire questions.
Ooh.
Okay, so you're probably going to be really great at this. Some people take forever, but dogs or cats?
Dogs or cats? Porcupines. No. I think dogs because I'm allergic to cats.
Okay, great. So you're not particularly a pet person, then?
Sorry.
Okay,
I like
that's
people
great.
Better.
Wine or cocktails?
Oh man, yes.
Everything. Okay, go-to drink if you're at a bar.
Bellini.
Ooh.
Not the opera.
Can't get away from the operas, can you? Wine, red or white?
You know, it's by season for me, really. If it's summer or spring, it's white or rosé all day.
Oh, yeah.
Then it's getting colder and I feel like a fraud drinking white wine. So we're moving to the red season now.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, you know, get out the Nebbiolos and the Pinot Noirs, that kind of thing.
That's great. I mean, I probably do that too without thinking about it.
Yeah. It's just a natural thing to do.
Yeah. I forgot to include rosé in there. Totally
Rosé
forgot about
all
rosé.
day.
Exactly. And then you use your rosé bottles for a bar.
I know, which Kat, she was like, do me a favor and weigh those bottles. And I need to tell her that they're like 3.5 pounds.
Ooh,
I
you're
feel
doing way more work than the
torturing
rest of
myself.
us.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not
because
fair.
I only use the 2-pound ones.
Not fair. I'm going to tell
Whoops. Well, that's why you look so great.
her. Right.
Super quarantoned.
I've never heard that. I like
What? No, I totally didn't make that up. That's a thing that
You should have just told
kids
me.
these days are saying. City or suburbs?
City.
Mountains or ocean?
Ocean.
Jazz or pop? Both.
A desert island, I guess, jazz. But I don't like that jazz that goes on forever.
Oh. The background music one?
Yeah, I like Ella Fitzgerald and more
Not elevator music, basically.
Yeah, I don't like when they take a solo for 12 minutes.
Yeah. Ramen or udon?
Ramen.
Ooh. Coffee or green tea? I know this one.
I don't drink coffee, so it's tea all
Green
the time.
tea. Books or Netflix?
Oh man, I want to say books, but here's a deep dark secret. I have gotten through a whole book in 10 years since I had my kids.
What?
I've started books.
Yeah.
That's not true. I've read a lot of children's books.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Bedtime.
Netflix, completely Netflix. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I don't think you should apologize for that. Netflix.
Netflix.
Because I mean, during the day we're so our eyes are on the page the entire time. You need something to not think about. Basically.
I want to go into like one of those flotation things where you're like floating in the complete darkness. Yeah, I want one of those.
And you're just in your own world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Summer or winter?
Winter.
Coke or Pepsi?
Ew.
Okay. Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Breakfast or dinner?
Oh, I like breakfast for dinner, actually.
Ooh.
That's the easiest meal for me to make for my kids. 'Cause I could make an egg. Come on, people.
Yeah. Cereal for dinner. Online shopping or in-person shopping?
It's hard. I mean, we can only do online shopping now.
That's true.
So, I don't know. I think I prefer online.
Yeah.
I'm
That could
not
be
sure.
really dangerous.
I know. I'm going to get these weird gold platform shiny sneakers, and I don't have to be embarrassed because I'm not going to try them on in front of anyone. So
Yeah. You'll just have to wear them out.
I did buy that, by the way.
Ooh, I want to see.
Later.
Yes. Cooking or takeout?
Dough cooking.
Yeah, dough cooking. Introvert or extrovert?
Ooh. I guess introvert.
I think you're both. You could be both depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Homebody or outdoors?
Again, both.
Yeah.
Where I am, I want to do the other. It's weird, you know. I'm one of those people.
A chameleon. Cardio or yoga?
Power yoga, because it's like both. Yeah.
Bar,
basically. It's gonna get you. Yeah.
Morning person or night owl?
Night owl. Oh, I hate mornings.
Yeah. Text message or call?
Definitely text.
Yeah. Favorite restaurant in New York City?
Oh my God. I don't know if it's still open, but Asiate. I think it's at Columbus Circle. That's where Dove proposed to me.
What?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
I got on one knee and everything, and I was.
Aww.
But yeah, that place is special. I wonder if it's still open though.
Okay. It's in the Time Warner building?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen it. We'll look for it.
I'll check online.
Yeah. Favorite coffee shop in New York City?
So I don't drink coffee, but
favorite green tea shop in New York City?
Chalet. Have you been there? It's
Nope.
so good.
Where is it?
It's on 82nd and Amsterdam.
Ooh.
It has the best matcha latte with almond milk.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go there.
And there's actually a matcha hot chocolate that's gonna be consumed later today by me. Yeah.
Wow.
It's so good.
All right. Favorite site for tourists to visit in New York City?
It depends on who. Like, I have my brother who's married to a woman who's never been to New York. And I think, she would like to see the Statue of Liberty. Having said that, I just went to the Statue of Liberty with my kids.
Oh.
And it was actually a good time because it wasn't so crowded. But
yeah.
I don't know, all the sites.
All the sites.
New York City is a destination. It's just everywhere you look. It's
so true.
Something to see. Yeah.
Favorite cuisine?
Korean.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so Dova's gonna have to make more of those Korean
Yes, he is.
dishes.
Oh my God.
Awesome.
We watched every video yesterday. We watched the one
Oh,
where
really? Wow.
she went shopping and was showing all her favorite brands.
I was trying to, because I have a lot of people who aren't familiar with Korean food and the ingredients. And I didn't realize until I made that video that none of the products have any English on there. So how are people supposed to know what to buy?
So Doe has that app, Google Translate. So get the app, Google Translate. He held it to this like pepper flake thing he bought yesterday and realized that he had bought the wrong pepper flakes. He was buying it for kimchi instead of sundubu.
Oh my God.
So
you just have to put your phone right next to it and it'll pick it up. That's so cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Look at all the knowledge I'm picking up from talking to you.
I
You're such an awesome. Yeah. Well, Kat, where can people find you if they want to connect?
Oh God, Facebook, Katherine Fong, and Instagram, Kat Shenlin, and Twitter, but nobody follows me on Twitter. It's so sad. I'm a troll. I'm like a troll on Twitter.
Well, I don't have Twitter, but I'll list all of this at the end of the video so people know. But I think this is a great way to end, and thank you so much for your time. I feel like I spent a lot of it today, especially because you probably have to go pick Lila up now, right, from school?
She's standing out on the street.
Oh, no. Okay, but thank you so much. You are such an inspiration to me and to everyone, and I hope that I can see you soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to the 7th episode of Entr'acte with Julia. I'm Julia Choi, and my guest today was Katherine Fong, who is a violinist with the Met Orchestra. That's it for today. I hope you had a great time learning about Kat. If you want to learn more about Kat, you can connect with her on Facebook and Instagram at Kat Scheinlin. If you have a chance, please rate and review, hit subscribe to keep up with new episodes, and pass it along to a friend. Thanks again for joining. I hope you'll come back for more. In the meantime, you can check out juliachoiviolinist.com/podcast.